I'm one of the few people who say your name correctly, right? It's Alla, right?
Alla.
I'm
Yeah,
very proud of that.
you should be. Not, I mean, like you're one of the very few. I have to
uh,
repeat it, spell it, and explain it to most people.
are you so you're over in Philadelphia and like just give everyone watching like give a little bit of your background, like where are you from, like what's your like day job, that and what got you to get into this.
So, my day job is IT. I do all day long IT work, and I work for Vanguard Group. It's an investment company, but I do IT security, which is not a lot of fun. But it's a job. It's a very, very corporate job. And I've had this job since I graduated college. So this is the only real job I've had. And
S-
I'm trying
And
to get
so
out.
how many years? I'm not trying to age you here, but
How many do you think?
I was gonna say
Um,
like 5.
oh yeah, times four.
That okay, that's impressive, and that's impressive. I did not think you were
22
that old.
years. Year
Wow,
two
that's.
salary started there.
Did you work in an office most of those years? I'm guessing, right? Like
Most of my
actually.
years, yes. Up until COVID, it was all 45-minute drive at the fastest at 5 o'clock in the morning and like an hour and a half back. So
Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah, I feel like after COVID, going back in traffic now, it's like so hard
not
to do
back
it.
yet. So I'm not, I mean, most of the people are back, but I'm still holding on. But
Yeah.
I mean, the gas prices and the drive and why? Why?
Was this the first type of thing where you're like, okay, I want to start moving in a different direction. I want to start slowly getting to a place where I don't have the corporate job, and or did you try different type of businesses or side hustles or things along the way?
I looked at it all very skeptically. Like I would have never been the one to click on the link to find out how to make money from home. It was, I was like, am I that person who's clicking on it? Like I didn't realize. I was like, I have a full-time job. Like I don't need this. But I mean, like, and then like I don't know what really got me to like physically click and then get on the phone with you, and that's it.
Yeah, it's the same thing with me. Like I come from the very stereotypical Indian upbringing where, be a doctor or engineer, and that's what I was in college to do. And yeah, so the idea that I would do like kind of be self-employed and work at home and stuff, that was totally not in the
That's
cards.
a
But
huge step. That's a huge step for you to decide to not go to college or to
yeah,
not finish college.
not finish. Yeah,
Huge,
so
huge. Like my parents
it,
would have like,
it's it's
seriously.
really it's really funny too because anyone who's like Asian or Indian probably can relate to the story, but like the first thing you get asked at any family get together or event is where did you go to school, right? So it's always like every time Thanksgiving or any type of family event, I'm always like, oh, here we go, right? Here's the whole spiel. But yeah, and you can't, and I can't say in return like that I do well. I try to not talk about numbers, so it's always an awkward conversation, right? But it's nevertheless, like, so you get into this. It's been what, 9 months now that
Yes.
you've
Hmm.
and what would you say, like, were you getting into this? Were you like nervous, or were you kind of
I was
what?
excited. I feel like I was more, I feel like I was excited and I was trying to prove to myself that I wasn't being screwed by
Right.
like I wasn't clickbaited, and I was like I know this works. I have to prove it. And I didn't tell anyone. I was like, you know what? If this is a sham, if I'm just gonna, whatever it is, I'm just gonna take it in and not tell anyone and like live with it. That was my fault. Right.
Right.
And so I didn't tell anyone. I was like, you know what? I'm totally putting it on myself. Like, I had some savings that like nobody knew about, just went and did it. And it's amazing. It's like I wish I did this before I graduated college. Right. But it's just as hard having like a family and kids and stuff. It's so hard to like you can't choose. You need a job. It's not like you can like put some money away and then like, spend time doing something, learning something. You can't. I have my computer, my work computer right here. So I have like four computers in front of me or four screens in front of me right now.
People always say that when people get on the calls with us to look at hopping into the program. A lot of times people think, "Oh, do I have to quit my job on day one?" I'm like, "No, like
Mm.
that's ridiculous." And I think anyone who gives that advice is so wrong because you need stable income and you need to like anything. People go to school for 4 years just to get an undergrad, and then they come in the internet world, and if they don't make $1 bajillion in 3 months, they think it's like a scam or it's not for them or something. And that's such a weird. I always think that's so strange, that mentality. And like anything, for me, I didn't. I did this in college because I started while I was in school, and I didn't leave college until I was at $6,000 a month. Which when you're a college student making 6 grand a month, I thought I was incredibly rich, right? I thought I was like the richest kid in the world. And so yeah, so you join in. I remember so vividly because we do the call, you hop in, and I remember too, like not that long after, you had a website which was a auto glass site that you built. So you went through this training and you built this auto glass site. I'm going to show it really quick for everyone because I think the story is pretty funny. But you built, here's the site, Oaklawn Auto Glass, and you build it, and it starts getting lots of phone calls, and you were kind of nervous to like talk to the business owner, and you asked me in like our Facebook group. You said like, can anyone help close the deal? And I just decided, I was like, well, it's not like I have anything to do the next hour. So I was like, I just called you. I said, I'll do it. And I think we went back and forth because like I over the next couple of days to like find a time, but we ended up just hopping on, and then it was like just that first phone call, right? Was it like I forgot how long it was. Was it 20 minutes of me talking to the business
He was
owner?
talking to you most of the time. You were just listening to his story. I was
Yeah.
just amazed. Yeah. It was about 20 minutes. I think he talked your ear off. He talked my ear off, like listening in. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
this guy. I found him. I think he was probably like my first call, and the call started coming in. And then every time I called him and I wanted to say, let's talk about, signing up and like doing this, he would have some kind of a weird excuse. He would have something like, oh, my wife is calling, oh, I gotta go, or like my grandma died, or like I'm saving money for this, or my brother's coming from like he always had a story that like, all right, we'll talk a little later. Okay, we'll talk later. And it's been, I
And
think,
and for context, so this is like you have the site, you're sending free leads in advance, you're sending free, referrals and customers to him.
yep.
And let's call it, at this point, how many weeks has it been? Maybe 2 weeks of free leads, maybe a little
Yes.
more, something like
Two,
that.
3 weeks, 2, 3 weeks. Yeah.
And then he's kind of giving you the just the he's busy, so you're never getting a time to talk. But did you ever at that point, yeah, I remember because then we were trying to find a time because I was trying to prove to you. I actually it was so I it worked really well for me because I was trying to prove to you the phone call is really easy. Because everyone thinks the sales side of this is difficult, and it's really not at all
Right.
difficult because you saw it firsthand. I mean, maybe you should describe it instead of me talking about my own sales call. But I felt like I didn't say anything really. I just let him talk and ramble for 30 minutes. And then what was it, $1,000 a month we got out of him?
Dollars a month.
Yeah.
Like I was just amazed at like the patience you had with him. I was like, I can do this. I can do
Yeah.
this. Not hard.
If all I have to do is sit on a phone call and let a business owner ramble for 30 minutes to make $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year, I think I can do that, right?
Right? Yes.
Yeah. So but it was a cool moment for me because it was, or I guess like, I think maybe it was cool for you because like, the number one question I get asked of people in the program is how good is support? And like, if people think that like you buy this and you come into this program and then I disappear and you never see me ever again. And I'm like, I close deals. And for the record, how much of that $1,000 a month client did I take from you? Like what is my cut of that? Yeah. So, one thing I love about this business is like, I just think it's so it's like super fun for me at this point. Like I've been doing this for so long that it's kind of like muscle memory. And so it was really cool. And then you took that win because you were pretty slow in the beginning to get to that point. And then from that client, you kind of like went really quick. Didn't you get your second client like the next day or like
Three
a
days
week?
later, yeah.
And that was all on your own.
It
Yeah.
was all on my own. Yeah, it was just it was ridiculous. It like when it rains, it poured. It was, I mean, it just gave me the confidence. Like you gave me the confidence to like understand this is not something that's really hard. I've never done sales in my life ever. I am the computer geek, like not a geek, but like, but I'm the computer geek who likes people. I don't like to be left alone and just like sit in my tunnel. No, but I like, and that's why I thought I was like, I'm not a speaker. I'm not a public speaker. I'm not a speaker. I'm just like, I'm just a person. And so is everybody else. And they don't want a salesperson calling you. They don't want somebody like who has like this script and, you know, like reads off and like says, are you in or out? Bye. No, like you need to have somebody who will listen to your issues, to listen to your problems, to like be a human being on the other side of the line. And that's what you showed me. Like, I don't need to be a professional salesperson. I don't need to be a professional convincer or whatever. I just need to be a human being and whoops, I am already a human being. So I think anybody can do this. You can just like relate to people and understand where they're coming from. And that's what I was like, all it took for you was like just to be patient with him and to listen to his issues. And then he still paid you the money. Only it was a half an hour later. Who cares? What's 30 minutes of time? Right. I
Right.
mean,
People are selling a lot more of their time for $12,000 a year than 30 minutes. Right. I think I'm pretty sure the best lawyer, like Johnny Depp's lawyer, probably charges less than $12,000 for 30 minutes. Right.
yeah, probably.
So that's the thing about it is like, yeah, it's always intimidating that part. And of course, you know, I actually, the reason why I wanted to help you is because if I students are always willing to help each other on sales, but then they obviously want a little cut of the thing. And I'm like, you know what, let me help you out on this one. It's your first deal. Let me do it. And it was cool because yeah, I think that confidence made it where yeah, 3 days later you got your second client. And then where are you at now income wise?
I'm at six, I think, about, but I took the summer off. It was very difficult working from a rental property with like cats and kids and work, other work. So
Yeah,
it was just a little crazy, but I'm getting back into it now. And now I actually have three more clients within like what, 3 weeks?
that's so awesome. Yeah,
And
$6,000 a month or 72 grand a year and growing is sweet. You have wait, I thought do you have one kid or two kids?
I have
Two.
two
I
boys.
talked to I talked to your 11-year-old, I think, right?
Oh, he's 12 now. Yeah, he's too cool
Y-
for you now. He's 12. His hair is
I
long and he's a Metallica fan, so he's way cool.
yeah, I remember because when I closed
But
that
I
deal for
told him
you,
about
you
you.
were
I
like,
told him I showed him the video. I showed him the video of you, and I'm like, listen, this is who you want to be like. You don't want to be like studying just to have that diploma hanging is not a goal. Like that does not need to be your goal. I will be completely. I told him I was like I will be completely okay if you decide not to go to college because I know if you have the brains, if you have the desire, you can do anything. That's it. So he knows you.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't think, it's all about like what you do with that degree. I just think there's a lot of people, a lot of my cousins in my family, they're just going to just get the degree. And it's like, well, find what you want to do and reverse engineer. Like, what's the life you want? Do you want time freedom? Do you want to be able to work anywhere? Okay, what kind of careers have that? And then I think it's smarter, especially because college is so expensive today. It's not like my mom got a PhD for like the whole way through. It was like, I think 20 grand all the way from undergrad to PhD. Right. I'm like, you can't do that today. Like today, you can't even walk into a college for like less than I feel like $50,000. Right. So
Even
it's
mid college. Yeah.
right, and you have to do that, then you transfer. So it's not. I don't have anything against degrees, but yeah, it is a pretty weird world that that I'm the only person in my family who didn't go. So like some
Thank
families are,
you.
I'm the first one to go. I'm like the first one not to go, right? My
Oh
and most of
wow.
my
I'm
family is like,
sorry. These
it's
conversations for Thanksgiving Diwali conversations must be fun.
oh yeah, they're great. one of the things I also get in the program is people sometimes think, because some of the case studies I have think, oh, you have to be either good at sales, which you just said you're not, and two is we don't have a lot of female case studies. But the truth is, in the Facebook group, there's a lot in our program. There's a lot of successful female students. It's just I just haven't gone back to film these little Zoom videos, right? And so, like in the group, do you like? There's I don't. Are you friends with like Alice or Kim or any? Do you kind of
Kim,
interact
I
with any of
talk
them?
to Kim once in a while. Alice, I think Mariana,
Yeah,
I talked to her over the phone for like an hour or two. Like we had a conversation. She's very,
that's
I
awesome.
inspired her because I told her, I was like, nothing to be afraid of. It has nothing to do with your gender. It has nothing to do with your voice. It has nothing to do. The only qualification is you have to be a human being. That's it. You have to understand where they're coming from. And you have to understand that, like, and you have to get them to, and if they don't understand that you're the one helping them, then you don't want to talk to them. You want to be like, you know what? If you don't feel like I'm giving you um an advantage over your competition, then we don't need to work. And I tell them that all the time. And it's not like a pullback. And I'm like, I want to make sure that I mean, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not trying to sell you anything. If you need this, you can have it and you're paying for it. But I'm not here to convince you of anything. You have to do that on your own, whether or not
Right.
you want to grow or not. And it doesn't really matter where it's coming from, female, male, anybody.
Yeah. Well, and the coolest part about giving the customers for free first is you don't have to prove anything. It's like, hey, I already made you money, business owner, for free. So
Exactly.
if you have half a brain cell, and I know that sounds harsh saying it, but I'm like, if you have half a brain cell, if I, for every, you know, dollar you give me, if I'm giving you $2 or $3 back, that's a smart thing. I mean, heck, I have money in Vanguard where your day job is, and I cry of happiness if I get 10% on my money for the year, let
Wow.
alone double or triple, right? I'm so happy if I get 10% on my stocks, right? And so it's really funny to me when we talk to business owners, and yeah, most of them are pretty easy and receptive, and you just gotta, you know, talk to them and build a relationship. And what's cool is once you build that initial relationship, the retention's pretty high and they just stick with you. I have now,
Yep.
clients for 7+ years, and it is crazy. Every now and then, like their card that was on auto bill declines because it's been, 5 years or something.
Yes.
And I'll have to call them after 5 years, and it's like we never skipped a beat. They're like, "Oh, here's a new card. Thanks so much." We just keep going, and
Oh my
that's the
gosh.
coolest part about it.
So I had a towing client who disappeared. He just disappeared over the summer. And I had no, like, I was like, I don't have time to call anybody. They're in Chicago. They're a different time frame. And I have to drive the kids from class to class, from things to, so I couldn't do it in the summer. And I just let it go. I let it go and I called and I talked to another guy and I'm like, you know what, you can have it for free for a little bit. I don't have time to do this right now. No, nothing. It was not costing me anything other than whatever monthly for Weebly. So then, yes, was it yesterday? Yesterday, I get a call, and it's like this random guy with a New York number. I didn't pick up because it said scam likely. I'm like, okay, I'm not picking up. Called 3 times. Then he texted me, "Oh, I need to talk to you about something." I'm like, all right, fine. I called him back. He's like, "Yeah, the guy in New York number. This is New York." I'm like, I don't have anything in New York. Nothing. So it's this guy from Chicago from the summer. He moved to, I don't know, another country. Obviously, he didn't tell me. His car just got declined. He's like, "So can I work? Can I take his spot?" I'm like, "Really?" I did nothing. He called me. I signed him up yesterday. He gave me his credit card number. Done.
So awesome.
I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, he told me about you. He said that you're good, you're this, you're that." I'm like, "Okay." I don't need to sell myself. Somebody else, if you have clients who are like recommending you and who like you don't need to sell yourself anymore. Like they can talk. And so truck people know each other.
Yep.
Concrete people know each other. Like I have a guy now who he's concrete, but he does only stamped concrete. He
Right.
has a friend who pours concrete. Guess what? Like they go on
Right.
estimates together now Because if the
Yeah.
lady wants to poured concrete and this one's gonna say, I'm gonna make it look pretty. Done. And then another guy, oh, this is a cool one with the roofer. I got a roofer. And I got him by calling him like with leads, live transfers. So I called him, I called like 3, 4 times. And then in the same town, I have tree service. And Twilio, I didn't get a chance to work with Twilio that well back then, but whatever. So I wasn't sure who was calling, but I saw the location. It was that town. And I didn't even think about that it could be like one or the other. So this man picks up and he's like, I have a tree fell on the roof, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, oh, okay. So you need a roofer. He's like, no, 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 no. I need a tree guy. So I'm like, wait a minute. This could work.
Right.
So I got him the tree guy and then I called my roofer and I'm like, hey, do you know this tree guy who's like down the street from you? Do you guys want to talk? Because if a tree falls on a roof, guess what? I mean, it makes perfect sense. So
Yeah.
now they're talking and they give each other's cards out and it just makes sense, right? Like,
It, from where you're at now, you're at 6 grand a month. Do you have like a certain goal you're trying to get to that,
I
or
mean,
like, I don't know if you have like a certain number where that's like okay, now I'm fully self-employed and is the goal to, I'm guessing the goal is to be fully self-employed, right? Is there a number in your head you're trying to get to by a certain
well,
date?
I mean, obviously I want to match my salary. Um, but I mean, my salary also pays for my insurance and blah blah
Right.
blah blah and all and everything else. So like it all has to calculate in for me to be able to quit my job.
Yeah, it's
I
kind
didn't
of
do the
it's a
calculation.
balancing act because yeah, obviously when you're self-employed, like I have to pay my own health insurance, which is not cheap, but I also get a bunch of write-offs, right? I get to write off my computer, my internet bill, anytime I meet a client, or if we met up and I bought you dinner, it's a write-off, right? So it's like it's kind of it kind of evens out, but yeah, you kind of have to. I always say you want to get to maybe like 25% more than your W
Yes,
two day job
quarter.
income.
Exactly. Exactly.
And yeah, you get a little bit over, and then you also, obviously have a little bit of a savings and cushion because sometimes you lose a client, but then you gain them. It's not you don't keep every client forever, but the cool part is you own the asset. You can always, like you said, you lost a client and someone begged you and called you to replace the website. So I guess, is there any other? We'll kind of wrap up. Is there any like thing you would want to tell someone from the outside looking in? And feel free to say good or bad. Like I'm not paying you to say anything. Like feel free to say I'm the worst person ever and this is
You're
terrible.
not paying me for anything. I'm paying you and well deserved. Thank you for, I
Yeah.
wanted to like seriously thank you for convincing me to do this because I'm not a risk taker at all. And now I think you've turned me into this like such a not a risk taker, but like I like this. Like it's like an adventure. It's like it's not a day in and day out type of job, which is what I have for 22 years. Right.
Right.
Like I love this. I think if I could do this for the rest of my life, I would be completely happy. I feel like I actually like maybe because I'm like an empath deep down, like I understand where people are coming from. I feel like I've convinced myself, or it's not really like not true, but I'm helping them. I'm helping that moms and pops, auto glass shop who is, working 3 times as hard and safe light and getting paid. You know what I mean? Like I want
Right.
them to be those big box stores or whatever businesses and all that stuff. I want to help them. And it's kind of like I think, and they understand that too. It's not like I'm not trying to sell them for anything. It's for me, right? Like it's my business, it's their business. The two of us are trying to make each other's businesses work. And as soon as a person understands that you're not trying to screw them or you're not trying to like disappear, I give everybody my cell phone number. They can call me anytime, they can text me anytime. And they do. I talk to them a lot. I know their life stories. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. It's like I feel like I'm making friends.
I I feel the exact same way, and that is actually the number one reason why I like the business is that I don't feel guilty for me. I think there's a lot of especially if you come from, I come from same thing, a family of no entrepreneurs and a lot of negative stigma about rich people or people who are wealthy. And if you come from that kind of mindset growing up as a kid of, wealthy people are evil, rich people are evil, the way you make your money matters a lot to me because yeah, to make a very
100%.
yeah, like I don't want to make money doing something that hurts someone else, and I love the fact that everyone wins in this situation. And the things that I live for are like the text messages of my towing client in North Carolina who bought a new 5 bedroom house and they got to put 50% down on the house. And yeah, like anytime I get those texts, that's like the coolest thing in the world is knowing that
Absolutely.
it's everyone's winning and I can go to bed at night. Like I go to bed really easy, right? I don't have a lot of stress because what is there to be stressed about? Every dollar that gets made in this business is like a lot of times my business owners, if anything, they're afraid that I might leave them, right? I might,
That's
because
awesome.
I price my stuff really low. So because I want my business owners to make more money proportionally than I am. So it's really cool talking to you. Thank you so much for doing this. I know it's with 2 kids and a day job and this business, it's not the easiest thing in the world to find time. Um,
Thank you
but
for convincing
yeah.
me. You did something that I didn't think anybody could do.
Well,
You
I
got
don't
me
know
to
what.
like walk on the crazy side. Like, and it's not even that crazy. And it's not even like the money that like other groups are charging is you're like nowhere to be found. Like you're that tiny. And the amount of knowledge you give, like that whole lesson, that whole slew of little lessons, I learned everything. I didn't know anything about I work in IT, but I had zero knowledge of website building and anything like that. So just because I'm an IT does not make me a website professional or anything like that. Maybe I can type a little fast, but that's it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
good for you. Thank you. I think
Well,
you're changing lives and it's awesome.
I
I love
appreciate
it.
it. Well, and likewise, thank you for doing the work, right? Because like I can, it's like you can bring a horse to the water, but you did the work of actually, going through the training, building sites, and not just stopping. So appreciate it. Always going to be fun, and hopefully, I know you're not going to be at this coming live event, but I will see you at one of them.
Yes, I
And
must
I
see
can't wait.
you. I must.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so much.
Peter.
Okay, take care.
Bye.